So now we're going to solve probabilities in probability distribution. So in our problem number 1, the monthly absences of a student based on his class advisor's record are presented in the probability distribution below. So if 0 um, absent in 1 month, that's 1 over 10. In 1 absent per month, that's the probability is 3 months out of 10. So if there are 2 absent in 1 month, the probability is 3 months out of 10. If it is 3, 1 of 10, and 4 absent, that's the probability is 1 out of 5 months. So in 5 months, there's a probability that in 1 month, he will be absent for 4 days. So the first thing we're going to solve is px such that x is less than 3. So if you're going to answer this problem, so we're going to identify which are those values which p is less than 3. So these are the x values of x. Saan dito yung mas maliit sa 3? It's 0, 1, and 2. So the probability of 0 plus probability of 1 plus the probability of 2. So the probability of 0, it's 1 over 10. The probability of 1 is 3 of 10. Plus the probability of 2 is 3 out of 10. To solve this, all we have to do is add the numerator. So 1 plus 3, that's 7 over 10. Because they have the same denominator, so we're just going to copy the denominator rather. So number 2, what is the probability that the number of absences is at least 2? So the probability of absences is at least 2. So if it is at least, so the least is 2. So it would be px such that it will be greater than or equal to 2. So this is the symbol because it's at least 2. So ibig sabihin, the smallest number of absences is 2. So p of 2, the smallest number, at least 2, so it would be 2, 3, and 4 plus p of 3 plus p of 4. So kapag pinakamataas naman, maximum is 2, that is at most 2. So the probability of 2 is 3 of 10 plus the probability of 3 is 1 out of 10 plus the probability of 4 is 1 out of 5. So they don't have the same denominator. So what are we going to do is to make them, it would be easier. You could add them the usual. You would find the LCD, but it would be easier if, because they are both 10 and this one, you could make this as 10 by multiplying it by 2. So multiply also the numerator by 2. So 3 out of 10 plus 1 of 10 plus 5. 1 times 2, that's 2 over 5 times 2, that's 10. So make them similar fractions so that it would be easier. 3 plus 1 plus 2, that's 6 out of 10, or 3 out of 5. Next, what is the probability that the number of absences is greater than 1 but less than 4? So in here, the probability is greater than 1. So ang x daw mas malaki sa 1 but less than 4. Pero mas maliit sa 4. So this is now the probability symbol. So this is the symbol, the p, it is greater, ang x mas malaki sa 1 pero mas maliit sa 4. So what are those values na mas malaki sa 1 pero mas maliit sa 4? So it is between 2 and it is between 1 and 4. So ano yung mga values? P of 2 at saka P of 3. So the P of 2, that's 3 over 10 plus P of 3, that's 1 over 10, which is equal to 4 out of 10. So that's how you're going to solve probabilities of probabilities of some values. Next, we're going to consider this figure. So instead of a table, just like in the first example, we'll be given a graph. So this is the probability that it would be 2, it's 1. The probability that it would be 3 is 2. The probability that it would be 4, 1. So this is the x. This would be the p of x. So the probability that it will be 5, it's 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to illustrate the mean. This is the symbol for mean. Mean is the expected outcome, or the average value of x. And the variance and the standard deviation is how spread is the are the data. So if we're going to find out here in the later part, how are we going to interpret those things? So the first one, the symbol for variance is this one. The symbol for the standard deviation is this. So there are Greek letters. So for this one, what we're going to do for us to identify the mean, because what we're going to do is we're going to identify if the graph is symmetrical. Symmetrical means if you're going to cut this into half, yung kapag this part is a mirror image of this part. So, ibig sabihin, magkapareho ang mukha nito at saka ito. Kapag i-flip mo itong paper in this side, or i-fold mo yung paper, ibig sabihin, they would just have the same figure. So, that's symmetrical. Ang mukha dito, pareho sa other side ng the other side of the line. So kapag ganyan, what you're going to do is, for us to find the mean, what you're going to do is just to find the center. Ang center dito is ito. That's 6. So the mean here, number 1, the mean is 6. So this is the center, so the mean is 6. Number 2, we're going to find the variance, or the standard deviation. So how spread is the figures. So what we're going to do is this one. First, you're going to multiply this by 2. Itong mean, multiply mo by 2. So to multiply that, 6 times 2, that's 12. Next, what we're going to do is, in the first figure, or the first column, at saka second column, identify yung after nitong mean, yung pinakauna at saka yung pinakadulo. Next, that's 7 at saka 10. What you're going to do is add them. So 7 plus 10, that's 17. 2, this is 2, this is 5. So add them, that's 7. So that is the result. Next, after that, plus. What will happen here, for us to identify how spread it is, the variance or the standard deviation, what we're going to do is, these two numbers, you're going to subtract. This 2 is also subtract. So 7 minus 2, that's 5. 12 minus 17, that's 5. Again, identify mo yung values sa pinakadulo at saka sa bawat pinakadulo. So in the ends, it's 2 and 5, then plus 7 and 10, then plus itong mean times 2, 12. So next, after that is you're going to subtract them. 12 minus 7, 5. 17 minus 12, 5. So therefore, the standard deviation, or the variance is equal to 5. The variance is equal to 5, or standard deviation. That's how spread is the result is. How spread are the values. Next, we're going to have now the computation. This is the computation for the mean and standard deviation and variance. So first, this is the probability distribution. So the values of x are 0, 1, and 2. The probabilities are 1/4 if it is 0, 1/4 if it is 1, 1/2 if it is 2, 1/4. So to make it easier, it's better that you're going to change this to decimals. So to change this to decimals, 1/4 is 0.25, 1/2 is 0.50 or 0.5, 1/4 is 0.25. The next part of the column is x, p of x. So ibig sabihin yan, ang x, i-times mo sa p of x. So 0 times 0.25, that's 0. 1 times 0.5 is 0.5. 2 times 0.25, it's 0.5. Next, add this. 0 plus 0.5 plus 0.5, that's 1. 1/2 plus 1/2, that's 1. So 1, this is the mean. The mean, or the summation of x times p of x, that's a formula for the mean, is equal to 1. So therefore the mean is 1. We need this because we need this in the next part of, or the next part of the next column of the table. So x minus the mean. So x, this is the x, minus mo ng 1. So 0 minus 1, it's negative 1. Dito, 1 minus 1, 0. Dito naman, 2 minus 1, that's positive 1. Next, x minus mean squared, that's ito, squared mo siya. Negative 1 times negative 1, 1. 0 times 0, 0. 1 times 1, 1. Next, x minus mean squared times the probability. So 0.25 times 1, 0.25. Next, 0.5 times 0, 0. 0.25 times 1, that's 0.25. Add them, that's 0.5. That is the variance. That's the summation of x minus mean squared times p of x is equal to 0.5. So that is the variance 0.5. For us to identify the standard deviation, the standard deviation is this one. So all you have to do is to square the variance, square root pala of the variance, find the square root of the variance. So the square root of 0.5 is square root of 0.5, it's 0.7071, 0.7071, or 0.71. So that's the variance. So for us, it means that the standard, the mean is 1. So the probability that most of, if you're going to choose between 0, 1, and 2, what you're going to choose is 1 because the average is 1. It's usually what will come out 1. That's the expected outcome. Or if you're going to get the average of all the x and multiply it by the probability, the most expected outcome would be 1. It's usually also in the central tendency, whereas it's in the usually found in the center. Next is the spread of the score is 0.71. It means that it is the scores or the values are not spread out. So if you're going to play, if you're going to solve, and then you're going to get very high standard deviation or variance, it means that the scores are spread. So ibig sabihin yan, maraming possible outcomes. Kapag maraming possible outcomes, ibig sabihin yan, you have less chance of winning. If you're going to solve the variance and then the variance is very high, if the variance is very low, there's a probability that the scores are very close to each other, so there's less number of choices, and this less number of choices means that you have high probability of winning. So that's the interpretation for the mean, variance, and standard deviation.